Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about a case of fake news that went viral on December 2024. The story said that Mexico imposed tariffs on all US products as a retaliation before Donald Trump's inauguration. At first sight, this headline looks serious and important. It seemed to show a new trade conflict between two countries, and many people shared the post on social media without checking the facts. But when we look carefully, we discover that the story was totally false, exaggerated, and misleading. So, what really happened? The viral claim was that Mexico imposed tariffs on all US imports. This was false. Fact checking agency confirmed that not general tariffs were applied at the time. The second claim was that the Mexican government published a decree in the official gazette, the Diario Oficial de la Federación, with a universal tariff against US imports. And yes, there were decreases in December 2024, but they only affect specific categories, such as textiles, for example. They didn't apply to all the products. So the third claim was that Mexico acted in retaliation against the United States. This was misleading. The tariff changes were part of the normal protection of the local industries, and there was no official statement about revenge. So, in conclusion, the post mixed false, exaggerated, and misleading information to create a dramatic narrative. This story also included logical fallacies. For example, it used hasty generalization from a few tariff changes. It created the illusion of a total trade war, and it used an appeal to emotion with nationalist and sensationalist words like revenge or attack. This rumor appeared first on social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Telegram. People shared screenshots or like short posts, but none of them include the real links, of course, to the Diario Oficial de la Federación. So, is this a thirsty source? Of course not. It was a questionable source because it didn't give official documents or credible evidence. I would say it's disinformation. Why? Well, because it was not only a mistake, it was a deliberate distortion of real decrease in order to produce fear and distrust. So, probably the motivation behind this, I think, is political and social. The goal was to make people believe that Mexico was starting a trade war with the United States, and this could increase tension and influence political debate. So I was asking myself, like, who was the intended audience? Of course, both Mexican and American citizens, but also politically active users online. The author wanted to persuade people that Mexico was acting against the United States. And yes, it clearly had a bias. The message was political and it tried to damage trust between two countries. So now let's think, what happens if people believe this kind of stories? First, financial consequences. If people think a trade war is real, markets can panic, investors may sell, and prices can rise. The second thing that happened, political consequences. False news can create pressure on governments. Political may use it to accuse the other country, and relations may become more difficult. The third, social consequence. People can become polarized. Mexicans may feel more hostile to Americans, and Americans may feel more suspicious of Mexico. And finally, I think psychological consequence. Fake news like this creates fear, anger, and harassment. It can make citizens feel attacked or betrayed, even when nothing has really happened. So we can see how dangerous it is to believe in false information and the importance of checking and validating that information that we are looking are truth. So my opinion in this case is a good lesson for all of us. It shows that not everything we read online is true. Even if a headline looks official, it may still be fake or misleading. We need to be critical readers. If we see news about tariffs or international relations, we should always check official sources. For example, in this case, the Diario Oficial de la Federación, or maybe the fact checking agencies like AFP Fact Check. We also need to ask, who benefits if I believe this story? Usually, someone is trying to manipulate emotions, politics, or markets. Personally, I think this fake news is a warning sign. Sorry, it shows how small facts can be transformed into a big lie. As a citizen, as citizens, we must protect ourselves by checking the information carefully and by refusing to share posts that we cannot verify. So, in conclusion, this story about Mexican tariffs is not only about trade, it's also about how misinformation can damage trust between countries and between people. By being more careful readers, we can stop fake news from spreading and we can make our society stronger. Thank you for listening, and I really hope you take advice like for this.